It is a war that has never officially been declared. Yet, it has burned across the Middle East for over 70 years. And the bitter hatred between the United States and Iran, you have to go back to 1953. In response, British and American intelligence agencies orchestrated a violent coup, overthrowing the government. They replaced the prime minister with the ex of Iran, a man who would rule. For the next 25 years, America poured weapons and money into the Shah regime, but beneath the surface of a rapidly modernizing Iran, a deep, religious fury was brewing. The Shah's secret police, the Savak, tortured and murdered political dissidents. In 1979, the powder keg finally detonated. Millions of Iranians flooded the streets. The Shah fled the country, and a radical cleric, Tullah, returned from exile to establish. The United States went from being Iran's closest ally to its ultimate enemy, branded as the Great Satan. The US admitted the dying Shah into America for medical treatment. Iranian students decided to take revenge. On November 4th, they stormed the United States Embassy, taking 52 Americans hostage. For 444 days, the world watched in horror. The American superpower was paralyzed by a radical student uprising. Separate rescue mission, Operation Eagle Claw, ended in a catastrophic helicopter crash in the Iranian desert. The hostages were eventually released, but the psychological damage was permanent. The battle lines were drawn. In the 1980s, America backed Saddam Hussein in a brutal 8-year war against Iran, fueling elements. In retaliation, Iran began funding proxy militias across the Middle East, creating Hezbollah in Lebanon. In 1983, an Iranian-backed suicide bomber drove a truck loaded with explosives into a U.S. Marine barrack, and 41 American service members were killed in their sleep. It was the deadliest attack on Marines since Iwo Jima. The conflict spilled into the open ocean. In 1988, the U.S. Navy destroyed half of Iran's Operation Cruiser mistakenly shot down an Iranian passenger jet.
The U.S. called it a tragic accident. Iran called it deliberate mass murder.
For the next 2 decades, the two nations fought a shadow war. Sabotage, cyber attacks, and assassination.
In the early 2000s, a new, terrifying variable was introduced into the equation: the Iranian nuclear program. Iran claimed it was for peaceful energy. American intelligence was convinced they were building the ultimate weapon. The US and Israel unleashed Stuxnet, a revolutionary cyber weapon that secretly destroyed Iranian centrifuges from the inside. Crippling economic sanctions
were placed on Iran, choking their economy in an attempt to force them to the negotiating table.
In 2015, a historic nuclear deal was finally signed. For a brief moment, it seemed the shadow war might cool down. But 3 years later,
the United States abruptly tore the deal to pieces, plunging the nations back into hostility. Iran accelerated its nuclear enrichment, and the shadow war moved back to the streets and the skies. And then, in January 2020, the United States crossed a line that brought the world to the brink of war. A U.S. drone strike assassinated Peretz, Iran's top general and the mastermind behind their proxy wars.
Iran retaliated by launching a massive ballistic missile barrage directly at American troops in Iraq.
By a miracle, no Americans were killed.
Today, the Strait of Hormuz remains a tinderbox. Swarm U.S. land.
70 years of betrayal, blood, and broken promises. Two nations locked in a standoff. Shadow war continues. And the world watches, waiting for the spark that will finally ignite the powder keg.